Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne and I live in Worcestershire with my husband Tom and our dog Bertie, who as always is lying behind me. So it's been 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks since I last spoke to you. How have you been? What have you been doing? I've been hearing from some of you, which is lovely. And one lovely lady sent me a picture of one of the bags, a bag she'd won in one of the giveaways from make-alongs from last year, that's been on a cruise, which is very nice. It was more than I've been on. I'm sorry my hair is a bit windswept. It's a bit shaggy at the moment because I've been in the garden, but I didn't think it was too messy not to just start podcasting before the light starts going. We've got washing on the line, which seems to be drying for once, so I think it's a little bit warmer than it has been. There's no damp in the air today, and yeah, it's all looking very, very spring-like outside. As I say, it's 2 weeks since our last podcast, so just to go through the admin, we've got 2 make-alongs running in this podcast. There is the jump-along, which ends this month, so get your entries in if you want to be included. I think I've got about 30 entries so far, which is lovely, thank you very much. But if you've made anything that's adult size with or without sleeves, although if it's without sleeves it needs to be something that you wear on top of clothing rather than like a cami. So yeah, the hashtag is on the screen, and there's a Ravelry group. You can email me a picture or you can enter via Instagram. I will pick up the hashtag. I am picking up the hashtags. And then the second one is a bit longer. It's Smash the Stash. And again, I'll put the hashtag on the screen. And that it will run towards the end of the year. And it's basically, if you're making something, doesn't matter what it is, but more than 50% needs to be from stash. And by stash, I'm saying anything older than 6 months that you've owned for longer than 6 months. And I could say less than 40 years because I know some of you might have things that are that old. But I'm not going to put any upper limit on the time because it's a good excuse to go delving, isn't it? And I want to announce another Mel that I'm going to be taking part in. And that is with Alice of SoxyNana Alice on YouTube and Instagram. I'll put her various contact details in the notes below. Alice is in Manitoba in Canada and she's running the Scrappy Toy Mail, and I'm going to be one of the podcasters that are joining in with her, helping her to run it. It's going to be an informal mail. There's not going to be any grand prize, although I am always happy to send out a bag, a wonky bag, to anybody in the UK. So we'll see a bit nearer the time. Depends how many entries we've got in, really. But the Scrappy Toy Mail is to make anything that's like not something to be worn or a shawl or something. So the book that Alice mentions is Knitted Friends, and I meant to go and grab mine because I have got the same. But I'll put a photograph of the cover so that you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be from that book. I'm probably going to knit something from the my Mary Jane Tea Room collection that I've bought, pattern collection, that's available as well on Susan's website and on Ravelry and I think Etsy, but I'll check that. I want to make a tea room bear with a pretty dress and a hat because they look so cute. But I do really, really like the Knitted Friends book as well. So, yeah, join in. If you're making something, enter it, please. As I say, it's only an informal one. There may be pattern prizes at the end. And it'll run till June, sometime in the summer months of the northern hemisphere. But it might be a nice winter knit if you're in the southern hemisphere. So yes, please join us. There's no real hard and fast rules, as Alice explains. And I'll link, if I can, to the video that she's just put up literally about an hour ago, and I just happened, I was doing my notes for this podcast, and I clicked on her because I do watch her, and we have been talking about, you know, running this Mel together, and she mentioned it because I'd forgotten to ask her about mentioning it on the previous podcast. I get myself into such a twist. But yes, please join in the Scrappy Toy Mail. I'll just get my notes open because there's no point in me making them if I'm not going to use them, is there? Because I do forget things, as you well know. Okay, so yes, there's the Toy Mail. And what am I wearing? I'm wearing my Felix jumper, which I really, really like, actually. It's waisted, the design element of the Felix. It's a fairly boxy sort of top-down sweater by Amy Christoffers, Saving Knitting. But the thing that sets it apart is it's got a little nice cable detail on the raglan, which has got holes in it, but you can't see that on mine because I've used a Suri Alpaca with the 4-ply, and you can't really see a great deal of the colours that are in here. There's a bit of purple on the end of my sleeve. It's pilling slightly, but I think I haven't worn it that much. I put it on yesterday to go out because it was really cold and I wanted something nice and warm. It's heavier than most of, you know, my house jumpers that I wear, my City Limits jumpers. But I've made it a bit longer and I love it because it's so cosy. So I think, although it probably cost a small fortune to make with the Suri Alpaca, which was dyed for me, as you know, not dyed for me, but it's one of the colours that Emma of Yarnworthy does. Then I was going to save it and just wear it occasionally, but I'm so comfortable in it. It's so warm. I've been so cold and achy that, you know, not on a day like today, funnily enough, but it is really, really, really cosy. The sleeves are a bit short because I shortened the sleeves and lengthened the body, because when I tried it on it was too short in the body and the sleeves were too long. I'm happy with the body length, not so happy with the sleeve length. Cannot be bothered to lengthen them again because they're perfectly functional. And as a lot of people have said to me, I could make wrist warmers. I have got a tiny little bit of the Suri Alpaca left, but I could do some in a purpley colour to contrast with the end of the sleeves, couldn't I? So that's what I'm wearing. Recommend the pattern. Well, considering it's a knitting podcast, and just to put this moment off, I'm just going to slurp my tea. I'm useless, yeah, I'll tell you. I've only got one finished item, but it's a big one. If I remember, because I'm always saying I'll take photos and then I forget. It's my blanket, and I have been wearing it literally around my shoulders. This is my blanket. This is my mitered square blanket that I showed you last time, and as I said to you, I was obsessed with it. And then since then, let me find a nice corner to show you. I've put a 12 stitch corner on it, and it's a mitered, I'm trying to find the right side, it's a mitered corner. So basically I've got double 4-ply again, 2 strands of 4-ply, and I've changed it every now and again. I picked out some of the larger balls that I still had left out of all these 20 gram minis that I was using, so that one colour would go a long way without me. And then I added little bits in, so I didn't have too many ends to sew in as I went round. It took me a few days to do the border, and it took me a while to decide how to attach it to the body of the, to the squares, to the body of the blanket. And in the end I sort of did a knit two together through the back loop, which hasn't worked out brilliantly because it looks a bit lumpy. It looks much better, weirdly, on the, that's the wrong side I'm showing you. It looks much better on the wrong side. On the right side it's quite lumpy. I need to show you, you know what it's like. It's big It's heavy, too heavy for me really. So that is the wrong side. Let me find another bit. That is the wrong side, and you can see how I've sewn ends in and things from the but the actual joining of the border to the squares looks quite neat. However, if I turn it over, I've got a bump, a line of bumps really, where I've knitted two together. And I tried various different methods when I started off doing it, and then I lost the will to live, because you know when you get to the end of a project that you've really enjoyed but now you want to really get it off the needles. That was me with this, but I'm happy with it. It's functional, it's squidgy. Tom wants one, but I don't have to be so particular with colours with Tom's, and I might not do the same edging with Tom's. I got the mitered square, the corner, from the 10 stitch blanket, and I had varying degrees of success with that because I was too stubborn to look it up each time I came to a corner, so I made it up as I went along. But I think they're fairly neat, and also I've got a 3 stitch, not I-cord, it looks like an I-cord. That's the right side. Is it the right side? No. Yeah. There's another corner. So each of my corners are a different colour. And then at the end I've done my new favourite thing that I did on Elaine's scarf, if you remember, where at the beginning of the row you knit one, slip one with the yarn in front, knit one, and when you come on, and then at the end of the row, no matter which side you're on, but I was only doing it on the one end here, at the end of the wrong side row you slip one with the yarn in front, knit one, slip one with the yarn in front. That's the end of the row, and you end up with this I-cord-esque edge, and it's a bit easier than I-cord actually when you're knitting such a big. It integrated it into the border much better than an I-cord would have done, I think. So I'm really pleased with that. I haven't weighed it yet, so I don't know how many kilometres I've got in there. I think it's going to be a few because it's 4 ply held double, so I'm really pleased. It's all merino nylon, most of it's advents with a few bits and pieces added in from various projects that I've made. You know, I can't say it's a scrappy thing, but because it is from bits and pieces, I'm going to put it into Alice's SoxyNana Alice's Scrappy Mel, which I've forgotten the name of, but I'll put it on the screen because I'm useless. Yes, my centres didn't all go in the right direction, but I'm not going to worry about that, and I'm really pleased with it. But it's the only thing I've finished, so look, we'll just shove that to one side. She says as she disappears off the screen, hopefully not onto the floor. I'm back. And then my ethos this year was to use up as much stash as I could. Not setting a very good example for myself. That's, you know, using advents that have been sat around for a couple of years. And I've knitted this, or finished this anyway this year. But I started the worsted boxy. Can't remember the date, whether it was the end of last year or beginning of this, and I hadn't given it much love because I'm working on that, and I've been working on the comfort zone as well, which is like a poncho style pattern. And I've ripped both of them back, the comfort zone and the worsted boxy, and I'll prove it because that's the worsted boxy in my Ikea bowl, which I'm going to get another one of. It was a bit dense. I was knitting on a 5mm needle. I can't remember what the pattern says, and it wasn't really growing very fast, and I was getting bored. I'd already done garter, well, pearl stitch pattern underneath the arm because it's all done in stocking stitch, which drives me mad, as you know. Having said that, this is all garter, the blanket's all garter, but I had enough to keep me occupied with the decreases and things. So I've got this lovely speckled yarn from Sal, Welsh Sal, and I've got 3 balls of this, but I don't know where the third one is, and that's plenty, I think, to put in with other scraps. I've got that as well, it's nearly a whole ball, so I've got plenty of wool to put in it that's going to look really, really nice. And then I thought, well, why don't I add a little bit of lace or something into it, just to make it a little bit more interesting for me. Now, Jules, who I follow on Instagram, she made a muscle hat, and I said to her, oh, I like that, and I said, I've got the pattern, I wouldn't mind making that. And she said, I think you'd get bored, I think you'd hate it because it's just stocking stitch, knit stitch going round and round and round and round. So I thought, well, no, maybe I'd better not make it then. But if I change the worsted boxy just to not plain stocking stitch, it will be knit up faster. However, it took me about 4 hours yesterday to undo it because it was 2 strands and they get twisted together. It did my arm in, which is another story. And also, why did I separate the yarns when I could have just undone it as they were, because I didn't mind the colour sequence? I don't know. Answers on a postcard, please. Now, as Pip said to me, surely you want it dense because it could be a winter jumper, but it just felt a bit too like I wasn't making progress on it. So despite me trying to make progress on my knits, bearing in mind we're halfway through the 3rd month of the year, I'm going to start this again. I'm going to cast it on again. It will be my evening knitting. Now, the comfort zone, which was in all those lovely pretty yellow colours, which I haven't dragged out, but I put a very, very poor photograph that I took late one evening, I think, and it's not very good, before I ripped it back, because that felt far too flimsy to me. It was being knit on a 6mm needle. Okay, what's the difference? You know, you've got 5mm, 5.5, 6mm with the same 2 strands of 4-ply. My jumper was too dense, and yet my poncho is going to be too flimsy, too drapey. Now, for me, the difference is I want the poncho to be worn over things. It was also massive because I thought I knew better than the pattern again. And I have got big boobies, you know. I mean, they are big. I'm not boasting. And I thought, well, you know, I need a bit more room. So I added some stitches to it in the beginning. And I didn't really need them. So I'm going to just knit it to the pattern to the biggest size. But I'm going to go down the needle size because it was annoying me. Because I want it to have some weight. And I want it, especially because with the poncho, it gets split at the elbows. And if it's got no weight at the bottom, I don't know what it's going to do on me, you know. So I wanted a bit more weight in the bottom. Anyway, I've done it now. I've undone it now. So no good crying over spilt milk, and I've just got to get on with it. No, they won't be finished by the next time I see you in a fortnight's time. But I will have hopefully cast them both back on again. But we'll see. And then I was thinking maybe for the comfort zone yarn, the lovely yellows I've got and thing going into purple, that maybe I should just make a jumper instead. But we're back to this decision making and I'm not good at it. So I might pick up my Arco Iris because I want to get that done, and the Blue Moment cardigan, which I really want to do because I think that would be super for summer, as well as to make a lovely jacket. Speaking of lovely jackets, you probably can't see it, but on the door, hanging on the door behind me, I don't know how wide this is, and I daren't touch the tripod here because it is a bit unstable. I've got the finished jacket that my mum's made me, and it's gorgeous. It's made with green wool, obviously, because it's me, so it's going to be green, with lime green lining, and it's the Pekka jacket with modifications to suit me better. Mum wants to make me another one now. We're looking at, if anybody knows a shop that has a decent amount of dress fabric that's in the Midlands or even a bit further south, Oxfordshire, etc., can you let me know? Because we'd like to go and visit somewhere. Textile Express at Oswestry is mainly curtain material upholstery. They do a little bit of dressmaking, but I don't think they're going to have what we want. Higgs and Higgs at Cheltenham, or Gloucester I should say, they're very much into children's jerseys and things, but I will see what they've got on their website. They've got some wool crepe that might do. And Guthrie and Garney didn't really have anything that I was after last time we went, which is South Birmingham. So if you know of anywhere that might have a decent amount, bearing in mind we're going into spring anyway, so the boiled wools might not be. I could do with something like a heavy jersey, really, that we could just line the sleeves of, and maybe the top bit, so that it's easier for me to get on, rather than a wool even, which would suit me to wear, in the sort of when the seasons swap over. Got any ideas for a decent fabric shop that we can go and have a look at? I know we can order swatches from almost anywhere these days, even if you have to pay a nominal fee, that's fine. But or if you know anywhere online that does a decent heavyweight jersey that we could possibly send off for swatches for, I'd be grateful for your assistance. Nothing to do with knitting, but it is still making and sewing. Oh yeah, we'll take some photos of the jacket to put in here while I'm talking about it. And then talking about sewing, I have done the giveaway prizes that I announced last time. I've done the bags and they're ready to go. They're a bit bigger than I was going to make, because what I do, I take the fat quarters and I don't like making them too small and I don't want too many scraps, so I just end up looking at what I've got and making them into a bag. So that's okay, that's fine. And despite what I said, I'm going to put a few extras in anyway. And a lovely lady in Canada has also asked me to make her a bag, and I've got that ready to go as well. So they'll all get posted this week. Incoming. I ordered some more used wool, it's DK weight, from Old Maiden Aunts, and I'd seen on her Instagram that she was selling some of her books at half price. This was a self-published book called Coming Home and it celebrated 10 years of Old Maiden Aunts, and it's got a range of well-known designers, and I will just give you a brief. There's Rachel Coopy's done socks, Bristol Ivy's done a cowl, Kirsten Kapoor's done a shawl, then there's Clara Parks, he sold a teague, and then there's a cake. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different designers or recipes, a recipe in here, and it's great. And I'm going to give this away to if the person who wins the jump along would like it, that's fine. Otherwise I'll organise a different separate giveaway for it. It's a recommended retail price of 18 and she's selling them for 9, I think, plus postage. So, oh yeah, there's a little notions pouch in here as well. Little cat on it, little felt. It's got some super designs on it, including the mitts on the front, a hat, as I say, rhubarb cake, which I'm definitely going to try. I'm not going to keep the book because I bought it with the view to give it away, and I've also got a download code for it, so I don't need to keep the book. And because I'm not selling the book, I don't see any harm in me giving it away, because unfortunately 2 of the shawls have got the pattern that I'm allergic to, the old shale or the feather and fan stitch in it. I could probably substitute it for something with a similar stitch count, which I might do, because I do like the one that Kristen Kapoor has done. Let me show you a picture of without showing you the pattern details. That's the St Andrew's shawl. That's lovely. And there's a bonnet. It's not a very good picture. I don't know if you can see it. I'll probably get my fingers in the way. There's another shawl, there's socks, like I say. Anyway, I'll be giving that away. And I'm also going to be looking to maybe sell a couple of books that I'm not using on Instagram. So if you're interested in knitting or crochet books that I've got, then keep your eye open for them. But this is not being sold. It's just going to be included in a giveaway. Lovely. I do like a book, that's the trouble. I can't resist a book, and I thought for £9, then, you know, it was a bargain. And then, the other thing I bought, I've been very well behaved, well, for me anyway. My friend gave me this little box, because she knows I like containers of any size or shape or form. And it did hold Christmas lights in it. I'll try to get the label off. I need to get this. I've got some sticky stuff removal to put on it, but I haven't done it yet. So in here is my other purchase in the last 2 weeks, and basically I won't show you them all, but they're hexes. They're pre-based hexes. They've got the paper in the back, and I bought some green ones. Let me show you. I bought some pink ones. I think she had them in different colourways, like pink and, I think it's pink and blue. And this is Grandma's button box on Etsy. I think I've got the name right. I'll put it on the screen, and I'll put a link to the shop below. I thought they were very reasonably priced. My mother's going to be shaking her head at me now. I need to get her to come on the podcast, don't I? Because she'll be going, but we've got all this fabric. Why are you buying things like that when we've got all this fabric? You're right. And then I also had a little scrap bag off the lady. I think her name's Jill. With various bits of it. Some of it's Liberty. It's just cotton lawn. I say just cotton lawn. It's rather nice. Just little bits and pieces. Because I keep seeing things that people are making, and I want to have a go. But because cutting out is a bit difficult for me, I'm just using that as an excuse. I thought, oh, I'll buy these pre-basted hexes. I don't know what I was looking for when I was on Etsy. I thought, I'm going to buy these because I can make a little pouch. And what I've got, actually, and I'm thinking on my feet or my bum, because I'm sat down, is I've still got some wool left over from the jacket my mum's made, and I could make a lovely pouch that's wool at the bottom and green hexes at the top. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's see. Upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing, they do say. I do like a dance. And I've been, well, for me, I think I've been fairly well behaved. I mean, I used to talk to you about every 3 to 4 weeks, and then I had a lot more to show you. But I'm trying really, really hard to not buy things, because I'm, you know, I've got so many lovely things anyway. But I have got the spring fade coming from Emma of Yarnworthy. It's in the post as we speak. I'm a bit concerned about going to see Emma at Wonderwall, because I think what I'm going to have to do is take a set amount of money and go, right, that's what I'm allowed to spend with her, and we'll draw the line. No, I'm not ordering anything off her to get dyed at another date or anything like that. Don't know if she offers that anyway, but she does do, you know, dyed to order on her website usually. But I'm thinking, what am I going to come home with? Not a lot of hope. I mean, I do want to buy off her, definitely. And there's a couple of dyers there I'm really, really looking forward to going to. And also last year, I really wanted to buy another quantity of Lioness from Blacker Yarns, and I didn't, because I love the fabric that that's made, and I've got a nice beaded cardigan in it. But it doesn't pill, but it loses ever such a lot of fabric every time. It is a type of pilling, it sheds. And I think it's the linen in it. It sheds really badly. But I do like the way that feels. So, I once never gets, remember. So, I'm going to slurp my coffee, and then we're going to talk about what I've been doing before I love you and leave you again. Just over half an hour so far. I might have to shout in a minute, because if it starts raining and nearly dry washing might get wet. Okay, so what I've been doing in the last fortnight since I last spoke to you. My mum and I went down to Blackpool, which is fairly near to me here. It's on the edge of Worcester, and it's like a retail park split into two with a road in between. And we went into, Mum bought a rug from Home Sense, and we went and had a cup of well, I had hot chocolate, cup of tea in Dunelm, and then we walked across the road, went to have a look at the phone in Curry's that my mum was thinking of buying at the time. Went into Marks and Spencer's food, that was nice, got a great big huge baguette, and then we came home, but I did ache afterwards. I took Mum to Sainsbury's and sat in the car park while she went into Sainsbury's. That worked out all right. And I had a new wheelchair cushion delivered. I've had the same wheelchair cushion now for 7 years, and I asked them because the finish on it was going. And I always sit on a hand towel anyway, because I don't want to sit on the plastic, you know, which is sort of far more relevant in the summer than it is in the winter. But they've put a different cover on it now, and it just, every time I try and sit down, because I have to climb into the chair a little bit because my feet don't touch the floor, I lose my clothing. So I don't know whether to phone them up and say, look, you know, it needs something different on the outside, or just put something there that's going to make it slippier for me. You know, it's driving me mad. So yes, I've got an undressing cushion. You couldn't design one if you tried, honestly. The vagaries of being in a wheelchair sometimes, I think. But yeah, so we went there, and then on the Wednesday, it was the first Wednesday in the month, so it was 10 of ladies. We went to Cozy Club. I mean, I had a really, really nice evening. I was driving again, and I had their, I don't know, called woodland chicken. You get like a decent sized chicken portion, which includes the breast. Then not roast potatoes, but potatoes done in the oven. They still got the skins on like new potatoes, and they were lovely. And some veg and a nice sort of tomato and pepper sauce. So that was really, really nice. It reminded me of that Spanish dish that I can't think of at the moment. Patatas bravas, which is, yeah, potatoes done in. It's a bit like that with some added chicken. So that was nice, and we didn't have a pudding. And I had a glass of wine, not a huge glass of wine. So that was good. Then on the Friday, the occupational therapist came. A lovely, lovely lady called Shelley. And she talked to me for about 1.5 hours, talked to us for about 1.5 hours. And it's time for me to make changes. I have to accept that I'm going to need more help, which is annoying because I've always been very stubborn and independent. But there are things that, in order to maintain my independence, I've got to invest in some things, and I've got to make other changes. So I am going to Nadex next Wednesday or Thursday at the NEC with my friend Elaine, and when I'm there I'm going to be looking at some things to help me in the house and to help me in the car, because I don't want to stop driving, not just yet, and I don't yet, and I would say I want to be able to look after myself as much as I can at home. You know, I accept help where it's offered and needed these days. I have to, because otherwise, if I do too much for myself, especially if I'm out of the house, if I'm being too stubborn, then it hurts me and I end up having setback, and it puts me off going out. I didn't go out at all last week, really, which is, apart from having my hair cut, which is what happened last week. That's all I did. I went around Waitrose with Amanda afterwards. So nice seeing my occupational therapist. I am still in an iron about hydrotherapy because I'm really worried about what happens when I get out, because of getting dry and getting dressed and then driving home again, and I don't know whether that's going to work for me in the state that I'm in. It might do me more harm than good. I want to go, but I don't want to go. So after my haircut, Bertie went to the vet on Friday, and he's okay. They like to, if you're on prescription, they like you to see the vet every 6 months, so that was alright. And he's lost a bit of weight, which is more than we can say for the rest of us. And then yesterday we're back to I spent the weekend sewing the bags up that I needed to do, and I quite enjoyed that. And then yesterday went back to Blackpool in Worcester with my mum to return the rug that she'd bought. I bought Tom a knife. Sounds dangerous, doesn't it? And I bought some pillows from Dunelm, because the pillows that I've got this bolster type pillow from Ikea, and it's solid, and I'm struggling with it because it keeps changing shape. It's not supportive at all. So I've got 2 cheap pillows, and Tom and I have had one each, and I slept really, really well last night. I had a bad day yesterday pain-wise because I was aching because it was wet and cold when we went out. Mum said, look, you don't have to go, I'll go on my own. I said, no, I want to go out, I need to get out of the house. And I was okay, but I ended up taking my strong drugs 3 times, which is, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? And it's this thing, this balance between doing what you can and not, and then accepting that you need more help, or you need to go to the next step with drugs and things. I came home, I basically didn't do an awful lot, but I started undoing the boxy and I felt grotty again. So it was a bit up and down, and I was exhausted. Fell asleep in front of the telly quite solidly, went to bed and had a really good night's sleep, which is, sleep cures all, doesn't it? So today I've finished undoing the boxy. I'm going to cast it on again in a bit, and then I'm going to pick the Arca Iris and start doing that in the daytime. So I'll get these packages done in the morning, and I'm hoping there's still enough light, because it was bright sunshine when I started talking to you, and now it's gone quite dark, and I haven't got any lights on because of the bright sunshine. Luckily, I've finished talking. I'll see you soon. Let me know what you've been up to. I love hearing from you all. I feel like I know some of you, but it's great, isn't it? You take care. Bye.